Okay, so this is our entrepreneurship and innovation teamwork interview for part of our final assignment. My name is Caitlin Thompson Fitzgerald, and my student number is 21459342.
Hi, I'm Matthew McCartan, and my student number is 213178006.
So my topic is on the internet in general and the adverse side effects that have kind of come about because of the internet, dark web, cyberbullying, increased promotion and fast fashion, viral spread of misinformation, and hopefully the ways we can combat that, but mainly just how it affects the people in general.
And my own topic is on the healthcare in Ireland and how family carers and home carers themselves are being mistreated and left out of society, and how we can help them.
Will we start going with the questions?
Perfect. Right, Caitlin, what do you know personally of your problem?
Okay, so personally, I have some facts and I have a couple of opinions from friends of mine from the different generations. So, a couple of facts, first of all, about the internet that have been, this is from around February 2022. So, as of February 2022, China has over 1 billion active internet users, and that is of 5.47 billion active internet users globally. So there's 5.47 billion people that are using the internet pretty much every day. There's about 1.98 billion websites online, not including those that are part of the dark web. They're not really counted as websites or domains as such. And about 4.32 billion people are using their mobile devices to go online. So your mobile phones, your tablets, your iPads, such. There is about 4.2 billion active social media users as of 2021. So that is relevant to, the topic of cyberbullying and how that comes about. That's a large percentage. And about $3.5 billion is costed in cybercrime for US businesses. So cybercrime prevention and things as such as that there. And as of 2021, there are more than 500 hours of video uploaded to YouTube every single minute of the day. I would have loved to get statistics on TikTok for that there, because it's a very trendy, up and coming social media platform within my generation, but I wasn't able to find any. And so that's a couple of facts on just the internet in general. And then a couple of facts on cyberbullying. About 37% of young people between the ages of 12 and 17, so your secondary school years, have been bullied online or know somebody that have been bullied online. And about 23% of students report that they've said or done something mean or cruel to another person online. And then just one or two facts on the dark web. Dark web activity has increased by 300% in the last 3 years alone, which I think is very telling on the way this issue seems to be going. And in 2020, about 22 billion new records were added to the dark web in 2020. So that just shows that it's increasing and increasing globally and daily. And then a couple of opinions I have. I am obviously I'm a university student, but I have a couple of opinions from friends of mine that are also students. And overall, from the people of my generation, the opinion is pretty positive when it comes to the internet. They haven't had an overwhelmingly bad experience. My housemate Jane says that, it's something that she uses every day, and she herself has never personally experienced any cyberbullying, but does know of people that have. My course mate, or one of the girls that I know on my course, says that once more, like, she enjoys it as well. but she does think, and she thinks it can make things a lot easier as we're studying science. It's a wealth of knowledge on, you know, all our topics and lectures. Whenever I went to people of the older generation, my mom, my dad, and my auntie, their reviews were slightly less positive. Uh, my mum hates it in general. She hates social media. She hates the promotion of fast fashion. She's very into sustainability, and so she really dislikes, all the brands like Real Thing, Boohoo, using social media as a way to promote their fast fashion. My auntie works for the county council in Donegal, and she is part of the social media management for one of their projects called Healthy Ireland. And so she is using it a lot, and she believes it's a good thing. It's very good to promote. She's using it in a positive way to shed light on positive issues, but she acknowledges that in her personal life she wouldn't have much use for it because she dislikes social media for more personal things. So it's a bit of a mixed bag of reviews.
Perfect. So what would you say we need to know about some issues that we think you could be more aware of, cyberbullying or anything like that?
Yeah, so obviously, I think one of the big things to do with the internet is how large it is. It affects literally nearly everybody, and for those that it doesn't affect, it only serves to kind of heighten the divide between that kind of gap in society, and that makes it a difficult question to solve or a difficult problem to solve because how can you solve it when it's affecting basically the entire globe? The thing with the dark web, no matter what research you're doing, the reason the dark web is so popular is because of you can be completely anonymous on it. Nobody knows who you are, and it's very, very hard to solve any of the crimes that are being done through the dark web as the middleman kind of. So I think one of the things that needs to be done, I think there needs to be more laws passed that allows the breach of confidentiality on the internet, which is, I suppose, kind of the opposite of what's being done now. There's a lot of laws being passed on privacy and stuff, but I think that needs to be kind of turned around because we need to be able to see who's committing cyberbullying, who's on the dark web, who's doing this sort of thing. There needs to be more laws on fast fashion and the likes of that as well, but that's more so not exactly to do with the internet because they're really only using the internet to promote the fast fashion and not so much to carry it out. And as for the misspread of information, I mean, our generation, we're seeing it constantly in politics and the likes. It's constant misinformation being spread on Twitter. Now that that's been taken over by Elon Musk, I fear that that's only going to get worse. So I think uh, we just need to, everybody needs to educate themselves more in that sense.
Perfect. What would you say your assumptions or hypothesis towards some of the issues that you've mentioned previously?
Um, I think, to be honest, I assumed that it wouldn't be as big of an issue as it was. Obviously, I think I chose it because I knew it would be a very wide-ranging issue, but I didn't realize it would be as serious as what it was. Like, I didn't realize the amount of dark web usage. I didn't realize what that could entail, the sort of the cruel nature of some of those crimes. So I think I kind of assumed it was a less severe topic than what it was. I didn't realize the extreme lengths to which it goes and the extremely polarizing effect that spread of misinformation can have, and stuff like that there.
Perfect. I guess next question is, what tests do you think you would need to run to clear out some of your doubts or with the fact of your hypothesis?
that was a question I struggled with when kind of preparing for this internet because, or not this internet, this interview, because it's one of those things where you can't test 5.47 billion people that are spread across hundreds of different areas and you know languages and countries. So there's no singular test I could run, but I think in Ireland I could. There could definitely be a survey or a study brought out. In fact, I'd love to do it myself. Um, just seeing what people's general reaction is, and the survey I think would have to be completely anonymous because you're dealing with pretty sensitive. And I know that's kind of being a bit hypocritical on what I said previously, but in order to find out how many people are on the dark web, how many people are being shamed or bullied on the internet, such information, people need to feel that they can share it without fear of repercussions. So I'd like to, maybe carry out something like that there.
Perfect. No worries. Um, but when did the problem become more recurrent, or what are the conditions that make it worse or complicated, say?
Well, like I said, one of the facts I mentioned was that in the last 3 years, the dark web usage has gone up by 300%. It's been a steady increase from the conception of the internet and the World Wide Web itself. I mean, with the beginning of social media, that's when cyberbullying began. With all of that, there came its own set of challenges. With every advance that we see in the internet, there comes a disadvantage. With the likes of Twitter and stuff like that, there we see the spread of misinformation become a rampant issue as each new topic comes along. The spread of misinformation about the COVID vaccine became an issue as the COVID. The internet is such a current thing that it becomes an issue as things happen. It's nearly instantaneous because the internet itself is instantaneous. So it's something that's hard to monitor. I mean, if you want to get technical, I suppose I'm not totally sure what day the internet was invented, but I suppose that's there then in itself when it became an issue. But to look at each individual issue itself, it's nearly instantaneous.
Fair, fair, fair. Uh, when does your users need a solution for the most? So, I guess what would be the easiest way to monitor or have a solution for each user on the internet to prevent such problems occurring?
Yeah, I think
Another
obviously
difficult.
that's another difficult question. Obviously, it would be ideal if there was a solution now. I mean, you know, things come and go without a solution. There should be a solution to stop trafficking on the dark web now. There should be multiple solutions, but the thing is, it's a very difficult solution to find without the dismantling of the internet as a whole. Because if there's the internet, there's always going to be a way around things. Cyberbullying is illegal, but there's still people that are going to do it. It's written into most, codes of conduct or, declarations of behaviour that you won't cyberbully, and it's still such a mainstream issue. So that's it's just kind of it has to be done now, but who's going to do it and how it's going to be done is a big question.
Mm-hmm. Uh, when is the no tournament? See, to be fair, I'm not too sure about this question itself either. When
When
considering
does
the historical context, is the problem or situation taking place?
no?
I guess it is now. It's more.
I suppose I would say no within the last 10 years maybe. If you want to go back, it's not a very far-reaching thing, to be honest. Maybe within the last 15, if you want to really, yeah, oh, definitely within the last 15 actually. But I think the points I mainly make are applicable to now.
Mm, mm. When is the no return event that makes the problem or situation more severe? So how far down the line do you think we'll be able to say this can't go on anymore? We can't go back, we can't fix this.
It should have happened already. I would say some of the things that have gone on, if you look at the storm of the Capitol in 2020, that should have been the end to Twitter. I mean, it got Trump removed, but I think that should have probably been the end to Twitter. If you look at the millions of people that have been harmed greatly through the hands of the dark web, that should have, been, I think the point of no return has already been passed. But again, it's just, I think societally, it's viewed as having more pros than cons. And therefore, it's never going to be put to bed. It's never going to stop being an issue. So I think we're already past that no return event, as it's like said. I think the problem already is too severe on so many different fronts. And maybe that's what makes it so difficult to pinpoint a solution because it's such a diverse problem. You know, there's not going to be a one size fits all solution to every disadvantage caused.
Perfect, perfect. So obviously you've mentioned before, who would typically be the users of the problem?
So literally pretty much everybody, from my little sister or my little cousin who's 4 to my granny who's 84, nearly everybody on earth. And the only people that aren't using the internet are those that are living in severe poverty. And I think that divide of those who have and those who haven't access only heightens the discord.
And I guess, as you said then previously, you've just mentioned basically the people who have poverty aren't
Mm.
accessing the internet. So my next question kind of is a bit redundant here. Who is affected by the situation? So I guess more it is.
Yeah, I suppose those in poverty are affected by the lack of the internet. But then I suppose who's affected by the disadvantages of the internet would be nearly, I would say every single person that uses it, because no matter if whether you've had a nearly completely positive internet experience, you haven't suffered any cyberbullying, you haven't felt you've suffered mass promotion or mass spread of misinformation, you haven't, gotten a virus or, ended up on the dark web. Even if you haven't had any of those things, you still likely have been on social media and felt a sort of pressure to conform. I think it causes stuff like that there. And, science has proven that being online and being on a screen can just generally deteriorate your mental health. So I would like argue everybody is affected by it, but then I suppose it's who's affected by it the most, and that's a tricky question. Everybody has the different degrees of how much they've been affected.
Mm. Would you say there's a much difference between people who are celebrities and normal people? You say since they have such a bigger, higher following, social media and things like that would
Yeah,
affect them a lot more, or would you say that the average person scrolling through, watching everything?
yeah, I suppose it's kind of two sides of the same sword. Like those that are the celebrities and the influencers, that's like it's their job to use the platform to promote, are are facing like extreme abuse and extreme trolling and horrible hate comments that are obviously detrimental to your health in general, not even just your mental health, your health in general. And then it's like, well, when you look on the other side of the coin, here's me, a completely average internet user, and scrolling along and seeing these filters and these edited images. And as a young person, that's really affected my mental health and my perception of how I see my body compared to others. And if you look at somebody even younger than me who might be even more vulnerable, they might actually think that's real and try and conform to those body standards and stuff like that. It's just Of course, there's people that are the people that suffer from, being trafficked and, assaulted online on the dark web are suffering to an extreme physical and mental degree. And then average users are suffering, I suppose, to just a more mental degree. But I do think everybody's facing adverse side effects, 100%.
Good, good. Who would your stakeholders be in your solution for the problems?
Um, I think I'm not totally sure on this. Oh, sorry, it just says this meeting's gonna end in 10 minutes, so I just need to let me just pause this and see if I can fix that.
Okay.
So sorry to interrupt my interview. This is not a part of my 30 minutes. We did our meeting on Zoom, and Zoom only allows you to record for or hold a meeting for I think 30 to 40 minutes. And it says on the screen that we only have 7 minutes left. So once I'm done speaking here now, we're going to keep going with the question I was on and then start another meeting. So I'll have to upload separate files and then we'll have another meeting to discuss Matthew's answer. So hopefully that uploads. Okay, so fingers crossed. So where were we?
We were on the who are your stakeholders for your solution.
Oh, okay. So stakeholders, I think I viewed this. So we can look at it from, I suppose, two lights. Like everybody has a stake in it, whether that be positive or negative. Because we're all so used to the internet and so reliant on it now, even just if we're just using it as the average user, we still have a stake because it's a big part of our lives and we don't want that to be inhibited in any way. If you look at the likes of companies such as Boohoo, Pretty Little Thing, all the major fast fashion brands, of course, if there's more restrictions put in place to stop the promotion of that, they're huge stakeholders. All your individual and group organizations that use the dark web for all that horrible violent crime and non-violent crime, identity theft, they're obviously huge stakeholders. You have your political candidates, the likes of Donald Trump. Even to be very recent, you have the likes of Kanye West. He got removed from Twitter recently, I think. And so everybody's a stakeholder realistically. It just depends whether it's from a positive or negative view.
Grand. Who else would you say is trying to improve the situation or the problem? Would you say that many?
I think, well, I know it varies from country to country. So I know we as Ireland follow a lot of EU laws on it. I know there was recently a lot of laws brought in about privacy and GDPR. So that doesn't necessarily apply to the internet, but it does apply to a lot of things on the internet. So they're big stakeholders. Activists in general against fast fashion and whatnot are obviously trying to improve the situation. I can't say I see huge changes coming about right now or in the future because it's nearly gotten to the point where everybody's kind of like, well, you know, you have to join in the game to get ahead because it's even just our main news source. So it's nearly counterintuitive because to find out news about how the problem's being solved, where you go on your way onto the internet, like realistically, I'm not seeing major changes coming about to improve the situation. I know there is politicians and all that are trying to pass laws, but there's no major developments at present anyway, I wouldn't say.
Grand.
Will we pause this meeting now in case it cuts us off?
Yeah, because there's only 4 more questions after that, so we can do them in the next one.
Okay. Perfect.
Grand. If I leave this, then will it be all right?
Yeah, and I'll send you a new invitation link.
Okay.